The South African Union of Students say they are concerned about the state of the student financial aid scheme and that the entity is facing serious challenges. They're calling on Higher Learning Education Minister Dr. Nzimande to act within 14 days in addressing the inability of the board to provide effective oversight in ensuring that NSFAS upholds its mandate and to stabilise the situation at the scheme. All right, let's chat more on this then. We're joined by Asive Dlanja, who is the national spokesperson of the South African Union of Students. A very good evening to you, sir. Thanks so much for joining us here on SABC News.
Good evening to you, Flo, and also good evening to your viewers and your listeners, and thank you for having us.
You're most welcome. All right, let's start here. I want to talk about the sort of intervention that you're seeking from the Minister of Higher Education. It does seem, if you've been watching, of course, the news, that the Minister does seem to have his hands full, considering, all the issues that he's dealing with at UNISA. But you're seeking that intervention yourselves. What is that intervention that you're looking for?
Unfortunately for the Minister, and fortunately for us, for as long as it's the Minister of Higher Education, all these things will be put squarely at his feet. He has a responsibility to deal with them. What we are seeking from the Minister precisely is for the turnaround and the stabilization of NSFAS. The reality is that NSFAS is almost in a brink of total collapse. This has been evident to all South Africans. It is nothing new that we are telling you. But what many South Africans obviously would maybe see, but they would not necessarily have noted, is that the applications for the 2024 still have not opened at NSFAS. There is no sense or direction as to when will those open. Now, this is a grave challenge, and in fact quite unprecedented, to be honest with you, because it can guarantee us that when come the academic year of 2024, it is going to be chaotic, and NSFAS will most probably, in fact, will definitely not have finished administering the application process, further plundering us into a state of chaos. So that's part one. Secondly, we are sitting with almost over 1,000 students who have had to write their exams on empty stomachs, who have not received, some of them, their allowances since May. They do not have a food, they do not have sanitary products, they do not have toiletries or any other necessities that would have been afforded to them by the allowances. So these are but just some of the problems which makes us to say to the Minister, he must intervene urgently. Okay.
Asive, let me play devil's advocate for a second here. There's another issue that NSFAS itself has brought up, where they've said, look, and I mean, on the surface, it does seem, legitimate. They're saying that they're essentially trying to also defund those students who, let me just say what they say. I want to phrase them properly here. They're saying they want to defund undeserving students. Given that seems like a legitimate concern by NSFAS, what would be your issue with it if that indeed was the case? The fact that they are looking into which students are actually not deserving students who should not actually be funded by NSFAS.
No, that is a scapegoat. There is no such thing. It does not even exist. Number one.
You can't say it doesn't exist. Remember, there was the report, that report that came out recently. And I'm going to ask you for your thoughts on that particular report.
Yes.
This is what was said in the report. So unless you've got an issue with the report itself, we'll come to that.
Yes, we will speak to the report later on. The point that we are raising here is that the students that we are speaking about are students that are fully funded. There is no question as to their funding status. There's absolutely no question. We're not speaking of students here who were defunded. We are speaking of students that are on the payroll of NSFAS, that were supposed to be receiving their allowances every month without fail. But the systems of NSFAS have collapsed and the students have not received their allowances. It has absolutely nothing to do with defunded students. That is a complete discussion. That is a different discussion altogether. That would be scapegoating to that discussion. There's no room for such a discussion.
All right, let's talk about that report then by the SAU. And I think that, we'd spoken to some of the student bodies, some of the SRC bodies, and they said that, this report actually vindicated them in some ways because they had said that there are some issues at NSFAS. What do you have to say about that report that was released, since we did end up talking about it?
The report is a product of our calls.
Yeah.
We said the systems at NSFAS were failing and they were not able to administer funding. They were not able to determine conclusively who qualified and who did not qualify. When NSFAS now started using last year, SARS and Home Affairs to determine certain information over and above what the students were providing, that is what we had called for that.
Yeah.
So we have no problems with that. And by the way, that report only speaks to up to students up to 2018. It's not the students. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, none of those students are in that report. So we have no qualms with the report. We have been saying NSFAS must improve its systems, because we said if NSFAS does not improve its systems, in fact, when people who don't qualify start getting funding, it only draws from the very minimal pairs that we need to ensure that we can put through to school the children of the poor and the working class. So we support those initiatives. In fact, so as I have said that, the only thing we said with the report was that we don't believe that the students should be criminalized, because we do not believe that criminalization is inherently or the only route towards justice. Let there be restorative forms of justice to ensure that those students, one, they pay back the money to the extent to which they are possible, those that are working, and community service and all of those things. That was our only issue, to say the students must not be criminalized, they must pay back the money, and those systems must be. We don't have problems with that, absolutely. All
right, so then you are in agreement with NSFAS that they, when they say that, they want to clean up the system. I mean, they have said that their actual intention is to clean the system, especially following that SIU report. But I think you're holding issue with how they are cleaning that system. Or am I reading that incorrectly?
No. Completely incorrectly. We are saying to NSFAS, you've got a mandate to fund and to service students of the poor and the working class. That mandate does not sleep. Even when you are trying to improve your systems, you see that mandate still is upon you. You've got students that are registered, whom you know that you are funding, whom you don't have a problem even with the status of their registration. Why are you not funding these students? Basically, what we are saying here, Flo, is that we are sitting with over 100 students who are writing exams as me and you are speaking right now on an empty stomach, and their status on NSFAS is funded. Their status in the universities is funded. When they call NSFAS, NSFAS says you are funded. There is no question about their funding, but they have not been receiving their allowances. They're expected to study and write examinations on empty stomach. That is what we are speaking about. So you can't say when you are trying to fix your bathroom, you are going to collapse the whole house. The day-to-day business of NSFAS is that it must fund students. That's their day-to-day business. That is the lounge, that is the kitchen, that is the bedroom. The issue of fixing your system is a bathroom issue. You can't collapse the entire house because you're saying you want to clean the bathroom.
All right.
We can't allow such a situation.
All right, I guess that's a great analogy. But in any case, let's talk about your action going forward. You, as the South African Union of Students, have threatened indeed to march to the Department of Higher Education. Let's talk to that then.
Yes, we are saying we are giving the minister 14 days to act against the inability of the board to be able to provide oversight. We are giving the minister 14 days to restore the executive and operational structures at NSFAS. We are giving the minister 7 days to ensure that applications are open, lest we find ourselves in a pandemonium. We are saying we are giving the minister 7 days to ensure that all students whose allowances are outstanding, they are paid to them. And we are saying we are giving the minister 7 days to ensure that all appeals of thousands of students that have still not been adjudicated since March, that is done within the next 7 days. Failure to do so, we will petition. In fact, we will lobby progressive organizations across the country, student and civil, to petition the president to relieve the minister of his duties, he would have proven that, in fact, he has reached his sell-by date. Because one thing we're not going to have, we're not going to lose the careers and the lives of students because the minister is failing to lead the sector. You must understand, Flo, that the beneficiaries of NSFAS based on the means test are children of the poor and the working class, who will be effectively not affording them the necessary opportunity to relieve themselves out of the chains of abject poverty if we fail in this mission. That is what we are saying. We will make the minister and that board and those useless staff at NSFAS our daily project and our daily bread up until the plight of the poor and the working class has been addressed.